What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Kirby's Barbecue YouTube channel. Today, what we're going to be talking about is some things you need to know before you start your barbecue pop-up business. And if you're already started, these are still some helpful things to keep in mind. But before we get into that, I want to talk about how we are very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. I think within a few days, we'll have 1,000 subscribers. So I want to say thank you so much to all of you guys, each and every one of you guys who leaves likes, comments, and subscribes to the channel, because we're doing this in record time. You know, it will have been, the channel hasn't even been, it's probably about 90 days since we started the channel and really actually started posting videos. And so to hit 1,000 subscribers so quickly just means that I'm posting videos that you guys want to see, and you guys are doing an awesome job getting the message out there. So I do appreciate it. Now, with that being said, I have opened up memberships to become a member of the channel if you would like. No pressure. There's several different levels and different benefits that you get from just supporting the channel, showing your appreciation, buying me a cup of coffee, so to speak, $2.99 a month, to getting free brisket when you visit my restaurant, to getting barbecue business consulting from me one-on-one, to getting early access to videos. So all of that information is going to be in the description of this video, but also you can just go right there on my channel homepage and it'll say join. You click that and it will show you all the different options for memberships. If that's something you're interested in, I encourage you at least go check out some of those benefits and see if there's something you would be interested in doing. And as always, thank you so much for supporting the channel. But I'm going to be prepping for the weekend as we talk about this. Some things that you guys need to know for your barbecue pop-up, whether you've already started or you're getting started. So, guys, I think one of the biggest holdups for people is paperwork, is regulations, is the health department, that kind of stuff. And although those things are very important, you shouldn't let them hold you back. You shouldn't let them hold you back. You know, there's a saying out there that many of you probably know, that it's better to ask for forgiveness than seek permission. And I think in a lot of ways, this is one of those areas that statement is very true. Now, let me preface that with saying, okay, as long as you're not jeopardizing the health and safety of the public. Okay, you don't want to be doing things that are going to be jeopardizing the health and safety of the public, but at the same time, they do make it sometimes a little bit difficult or ambiguous about how to actually go about setting up your pop-up the correct way to where you're not going to get shut down and to where you're going to be able to profitably sell. So keep those things in mind. Is anytime I'm talking about this stuff, that doesn't mean that I've done it this way. I'm just giving you general things and thoughts that have come through my mind, because a lot of people ask, I've gotten a couple questions throughout the last couple of videos about the pop-ups and how do you do this and how do you do that, so on and so forth. And guys, you just need to start. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things wrong. The health department is going to stop by. You're going to have to make adjustments. You're going to have to change, and that's just part of the game. You're not going to know everything before you start your pop-up. I try to do a really good job on this channel to cover pretty much everything, but I know there's things that I leave out. Like the other day, somebody asked about how do you dispose of your wastewater from your wash, rinse, sanitize station. And my answer to him was, hey, I'm assuming, I'm not saying I've done this, but I'm assuming most people just do it discreetly, was my answer. And you can read in between the lines. They do it discreetly, okay? They get rid of that wastewater discreetly. Now, what I told him was the correct answer and what you should be doing is, and if you have a better way, definitely put it down below in the comment section. But what I recommended and what I've done in the past is I've bought in those 5-gallon buckets from Home Depot or Walmart or Lowe's. All those places sell them with a lid. And what I've done is I've taken the wastewater and I've poured it from my bus tub into that 5-gallon bucket, and then put that bucket in the back of the truck. And when I got back home or got back to the restaurant or wherever you're going, you can dump that wastewater down your kitchen sink drain, just like you would if you were working out of that location. Okay, or you could take that bucket and just throw it in a dumpster with a lid on, obviously. Um, but things like that, you kind of have to use a little bit of common sense, and you kind of have to use a little bit of, it's a little bit of a gray area, right? They don't tell you in the guidelines from the county what to do with your wastewater or things like that. So you kind of have to read in between the lines and make some assumptions and make some judgment calls. Don't let something like that stop you from starting your pop-up. Another question I got is, hey, do I have to have a commissary kitchen to prepare my food? Yes, you're supposed to have a commissary kitchen, a commercial kitchen, to prepare your food. Now, does every taco truck, not taco truck, but does every taco vendor, every person on the side of the road selling tacos, do they use a commissary kitchen to prep their food, their onions, their cilantro, their rice, their salsas? No, I can guarantee you 95% of them are doing it in their home kitchen. Once again, am I telling you to do it in your home kitchen? No, I'm not. There's problems that come with that. If people get sick and the health department wants to know, hey, where did you prepare this food? So on and so forth, right? There are liabilities. There are things that can come into play with that, but I'm just letting you know what other people do. I'm letting you know what your options are, and it's for you to decide what direction you want to take, okay? So most people, I would say when they're doing pop-up events, they absolutely, especially when they're first getting started, are preparing their food out of their home kitchen. Okay, now a better alternative, if you can do it, is to prepare your food on site, because ideally you want to either have a commercial kitchen where you're cooking the product, or you're preparing the food on site. So depending on what you're doing is going to depend on whether that's plausible, possible or not. If you're doing very light stuff, maybe barbecue sandwiches, stuff like that, chicken wings, ribs, turkey, stuff like that, you can prepare all that stuff on site. But something like, I don't know, if you're doing, really, there's a lot of stuff you can do on site. I'm trying to think. If you're talking about, let's say, side items, for example, you can whip up some coleslaw on site. You throw up some tables on your pop-up. You get there a couple hours early. You got your bowl. You throw your mayo, your cabbage, all that good stuff together. Put it in a container and put it on ice, and you're good to go. So baked beans, right? Something that I've used in the past is they sell these propane, basically stove burners type deals, I guess. You'll probably know what I'm talking about. You can put a pot like this on there. In fact, I've used this pot like that before. You've probably seen it on the channel when I was prepping for catering I was doing sweet potatoes in there. But you can get those from Academy, Dick's Sporting Goods, Home Depot, things like that. And all it is you connect a propane tank to it, and it's a flame stove burner. I don't even know what to call it, but it's what people use when they fry turkeys outside in their backyard. Okay, so if you were doing beans, or you were doing mac and cheese, or you were doing any hot sides like that, you could use something like that to prepare the food on site if you were trying to avoid having to get a commercial kitchen. And a commercial kitchen, honestly, there's several options for it. If you're in a big area like Houston, like I am, there's tons of different commercial kitchen spaces that is what they built these kitchens for, pop-ups and food trucks and things like that to use for these purposes. And you rent them by the hour. Typically they'll rent them in 2 or 4 hour blocks, and you rent them by the hour, and you can prepare your food. So what a lot of people do is they'll rent space for the 4 hour block that they have to on, say, a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and they'll prepare all the food that they have to prepare for the entire weekend on that Tuesday or Wednesday. That way they're good to go. Now, when you do that, they will give you, basically you'll sign a contract of use for the kitchen, and that way they can keep track of you're being responsible in their kitchen, but also that is going to be proof if someone ever asks from the health department where you prepared your food, is you'll have that. And so that's an option as well. A lot of people, especially starting out, don't like to use that option because either A, they don't have them in their area, they don't know where to look. Guys, it's a quick Google search. Just look up commercial kitchen for rent or ghost kitchen for rent, things like that. Okay, but a lot of people choose not to do that route and they choose to prepare it in their home just simply because of the cost, which I can understand. Okay, I can understand. I'm not condoning it, but I can understand it because these commercial kitchens can be, kind of pricey sometimes. Honestly, I don't. If you're taking the business very seriously, you plan on doing it for a while, you plan on being consistent, you plan on actually having a lot of customers, making a lot of sales, then I think it's a good investment to just do it the right way. I can't even remember what the one I was using charged. I want to say it was going to cost me like 150 for a 4-hour slot, if I'm not mistaken. Which at the beginning, when you're not making any money, it's like, damn, I'm already down 150 on the kitchen plus everything I spent on the food, and it can be kind of daunting because at the beginning, to be honest, let's just say you spend 150 on the kitchen. Let's say you spend $300 on food, and then maybe another $50 on all the other stuff, right? Cleaning supplies, stuff like that. You're in it for $500 for the weekend, and it's $500 for the weekend. It's not a crazy amount of money, but that is a good little hurdle to just become profitable, especially on your first or second or third or fourth or fifth weekend out. So there is some investment up front without you really knowing if you're going to get your money back, which is an investment. You don't always get your money back, right? The other option is you can find a business owner. Maybe you frequent a restaurant or you frequent a bar and you know the management or the owner pretty well. You can always ask them if they can rent part of their kitchen space, part of their prep space out to you on a slow night. For restaurants, typically between three, I'd say between 3 and 5, maybe 2 and 5 is the slowest time for restaurants. So maybe you can have an agreement to rent out their prep kitchen for that time on Tuesdays or something, or Wednesdays. And, if you got a good relationship with them, they're serious. They know you're serious. They know you got your stuff in order. You have your food handler's license. Like, you're not just some random guy back there. You have your food handler's license. You're doing things the right way. They may allow you to do that in their kitchen, especially if you have some food liability insurance, which is very cheap. You can get food liability insurance for your pop-up from, I don't even want to mention them because it's a great company. I'll mention them. Hey, by the way, Flip, if you guys want to sponsor me, this would be a really good channel for y'all to sponsor. Really good channel. So Flip, it's called Flip Insurance. Their food liability insurance protection or program, something along those lines. Okay. And they're pretty cheap. They're like $30 a month. They cover you for if anybody gets sick, all that good stuff, during any type of catering, any temporary event. So caterings, pop-ups, things like that. It's called Flip Insurance, Food Liability Insurance Program is what it stands for. So, if you're serious and you talk to a business owner, a restaurant owner, and you have your Flip insurance, you have your food handler's license, all that good stuff, and you've developed a relationship with them, that might work. Now, I don't suggest you go into a chain. A chain's never going to let you do that. There's too much corporate stuff going on. But a mom and pop place, you might be able to get in, and you might have to try multiple. So that's another option. What else? So another comment that I got was, hey, in my county, they told me, or on their website, it says that all the food has to be cooked on site. Okay, well, and he specifically mentioned, I'm not going to stand on the corner while I'm smoking a brisket for 12 hours. So I have a couple thoughts on that. Number one, as I mentioned earlier, most of your other items, your side items, things like that, and even most of your proteins, your ribs, your turkey, all that good stuff, you can do on site hours before your event. All of those things take under 4 hours to cook if you're doing it right. And so you can do those on site. You can do your cold sides on site. You can do your beans. You can do all that stuff on site, like I mentioned earlier. The brisket is where the problem comes in because it's a 10 to 12 hour cook. And like the gentleman said, he didn't want to be standing on the corner for 12 hours prior to his event smoking the brisket. Totally understandable. Totally understandable. So this is one of those cases where I'm not telling you what to do, but you have to kind of read between the lines, and you kind of got to realize that there are illegal things and illegal things. And before I get into that, just understand, none of this stuff is illegal. These are regulations, not laws. So it's not like you're going to jail for any of this stuff. Could you get fined? Yes. Could you get shut down? Yes. Could you get on the health department's bad side? Yes. All of those things are true. But it's not like these are crimes. It's not like you're going to jail or anything like that. But I use the term illegal versus illegal because this is something that somebody taught me a long time ago. They said, look, okay, you've got things that are illegal and you got things that are illegal. And what they described was, okay, let's say you go out and you do your pop-up event and for the weekend and you make $800 for the weekend. Should you, and you took all cash, should you pay taxes on that? Legally, yeah, you should pay taxes on that. Would I tell somebody, hey, you need to go pay taxes on the $800 that you just made doing your very first pop-up on the side of the road that you took cash for? No, I'm not going to tell you to go pay taxes. Once again, this is not legal advice, but come on. Like, there's illegal, which would be you made $100,000 this year with your pop-up business and you're choosing not to pay taxes versus, oh, he made $800 this weekend. He goes out every couple weekends and makes a little money cash under the table, no big deal, right? So that's what I mean by there's illegal and then there's illegal. So guys, yes, I know I've predicated this channel and my message on doing things right, doing it the right way, but you have to kind of, if you tried to get every single detail 100% the way it was supposed to be, 95% of you guys would never get started. And my whole goal with this channel is to help you guys get started selling, get started making money, get started having people try your food, get started putting your brand and your name out there in the barbecue world. And so if you're letting all this paperwork hold you back, you're never going to get started, right? You're never going to get started. And don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying don't get your temporary food permit. You need to get that because the health department will roll up on you. You will have spent $500 on food for the weekend and they will shut you down and you're going to eat that cost. So am I telling you not to go get a permit? No, that's not what I'm telling you. But what I'm telling you guys is you have to stop making excuses for why you can't get started yet. And you need to, instead of making excuses on why you can't get started, you need to find creative ways to fix problems that you're having. So I knew a guy who had a barbecue pop-up business, and his name was Burby, okay? And Burby's Barbecue, for their first couple pop-ups, they cooked their brisket in the backyard on their backyard smoker. Now, Burby's Barbecue, they had a tent. They had a pop-up tent over the cooking area. They kept everything nice and clean. They made sure there was no pets, no animals, no insects, things like that. They made sure everything was food safe. They wore gloves. But they cooked their briskets in their backyard the day before their event. That way they would not have to stand on the corner for 12 hours at their event site. So Burby's Barbecue, they needed to do something illegal, not illegal, okay, to be able to get started and to do their thing. So I would recommend you guys to find creative solutions, use common sense, and, do it that way. I don't think that if you're doing everything right the day of your event, just because you smoked that brisket the day prior under a tent, everything was food safe, yada, yada, yada. It just wasn't necessarily on site. Is anyone going to have a problem with it? I know for Burby's Barbecue, they never had an issue with it. Health department never asked, hey, where was this brisket cooked? So, yeah, take that for what it is. What other frequent questions do I get? I get questions like, how do you get your dishwater warm if you're doing it out of a pop-up tent, right? How do you have warm dishwater? And what I told them was this. Once again, if you have everything set up correctly, is the health department going to come by and say, oh, your water's not 92 degrees, you need to close down? No, they're not going to do that. If you've got your setup the right way, how I teach you guys how to do it, you've got wash, rinse, sanitize, you've got the right amount of sanitizer solution in there to sanitize, you've got a hand washing station, you've got soap, you've got hand sanitizer, you've got paper towels. They are going to applaud you for trying to do it the right way. Now, as far as warm water goes, one of the things that I did to be able to achieve that in the early days was the same stove, okay, or burner, or whatever you want to call it, that I was talking about earlier to heat up your sauces, your sides, things like that, that they use to fry turkeys on. You can get a pot of water, throw it on there, warm it to however warm you want it, and if you get it to a boil, say you're at the beginning of your day, long before you even start, and you get that water to a boil, you pour it in your bus tub, that water is going to stay relatively warm for a good portion of the day. Usually for barbecue, we're only out there 4 or 5 hours. It's going to stay warm for that period of time. So, like I said, there is creative ways to go about it. Another question was, okay, that's cool, I understand that, but how do you get your water? Well, once again, we need to think critically and figure out how do we get fresh water out to a location where there's no faucets or anything like that. Okay, they make 5-gallon jugs of water you can buy from your grocery store. Get a couple of those, put them in the back of your truck, and you can take them to the pop-up site, and you use those to fill up your hand washing station. You use those to fill up your dish sinks. You use it for whatever you need to do, to boil water for your macaroni, so on and so forth. So those are some of the things that you need to know before you start your pop-up business. Is don't be scared of the paperwork. Don't be scared of the rules, the regulations. Follow them to the best of your ability. Do what you need to do so that you don't waste your time and get shut down 30 minutes after you open. Be food safe. Wear gloves. Even if you're in a place that they say you don't need gloves, because there are counties that say that, which is surprising, but it's true. Wear gloves, have a hat, have air, you got a beard, wear a beard net, all that good stuff. If you look professional, if you look like you know what you're doing, people are not going to really bother you too much about it. So that would be my advice. Once again, thank you guys so much. I cannot wait to cross 1,000 subscribers. I'll definitely be doing some kind of thank you video for that. Remember the channel memberships I mentioned at the beginning of the video, go check them out. If you don't want to contribute to the channel financially, no problem. If you did, it'd mean the world to me, and I can get you some of those extra benefits. Want to get you guys that are members access to my videos early, free brisket at my restaurant, and I want to come one-on-one and mentor you in your barbecue pop-up business. So check out those membership levels, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.